There are hundreds of thousands of cities out there in the world, and trying to come up with an original name might prove to be difficult. From Intercourse Pennsylvania to boring Oregon, here are 19 strangest names of places around the world. But first, thanks Game Brain for leaving us this comment on our Abandoned Places in Europe video. We're glad you enjoyed watching, and we think you'll like this upcoming video we have for you today. Let us know in the comment section if you've ever been to a crazy place with a strange name. Number 19. Cut and Shoot, Texas. In the 1800s, a little community was popping up north of Houston where trouble was brewing. There are a few different legends that tell how Cut and Shoot got its name. The townspeople were arguing on how the church should look, which led to some confrontations. When some of the violence died down, people had to be held accountable and a witness was called to speak in front of a judge. The judge was asking where the whole incident took place, and he said, "The place with all the cutting and shooting," and somehow the name stuck. You can still see the old city hall with the name proudly displayed. Number 18. Sug Arkansas. Everyone, welcome to Sug Arkansas, located in Perry County, right in the middle of the state. It's not 100% clear how this city got its name, but it certainly doesn't seem too appealing, or does it? Some claim that the city got its name because people would drink until they would swell up like toads. A travel website actually claims that it's a corrupted French expression of sucre, which means sweet, but maybe people just suck toads here and the explanation is that simple. Number 17. Idiotville, Oregon. This name might seem like a place that you would ask your teacher if they were from, or tell your little brother that they belong there. But rest assured, it's a real place. This used to be a former logging town, but it's now a ghost town, probably because no one wants to live in Idiotville. Located in northwestern Oregon, it's said to be so remote that people began saying only an idiot would ever live here. The residents just kind of thought it was funny and they adopted the name. Number 16. Ding Dong, Texas. Located in the center of Bell County in Texas, is this strange city name just a coincidence, or was it a clever joke that not everyone will catch on to? It's actually a strange coincidence. The county was named after Governor Peter Bell, who once lived in this county. The Bells were governing a general store in this county, and a clever artist decided to create a funny sign to bring in customers. It showed two bells with the words ding and dong on it. Everyone loved the sign so much that they called the entire city Ding Dong. Number 15. Biche, France. Who knew such a beautiful city in France could have such an undesirable name? Of course, the French might not really understand the reason why this name seems so strange to us, which makes it even more funny. Located in the Vosges mountain in the Pays de Biche region of Lorraine, this is the capital. It's well known for the citadel of Biche, which was a big fortification during the Franco-Prussian War. This photo here shows the official city limits of Biche, with the citadel in the background to the left of the photo. Number 14. Condor, France. French lovers play it safe in this city. With other cities out there getting kind of dirty, the city of Condor is becoming a popular sight to see, but maybe not for everyone. People have it plotted out on their maps far ahead in advance to get a photo with the popular sign. The word Condom actually comes from the Gaulish word Condat Magnos, which translates roughly to the marketlands. There's quite a few historical sites here, and they're well known for their production of cognac brandy. This strangely named southwestern French city also has a famous statue of the Three Musketeers. Although the French word for condom is préservatif, some other cities have refused to associate with them because of the embarrassing name in English. Number 13. Disappointment Islands. Hopefully you aren't too disappointed these islands are on the list. These sparsely inhabited islands are located right in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. These islands were first spotted by Ferdinand Magellan and his crew, and were given this sad name because they were disappointed they were unable to find a fresh source of water here. The islands have a history of disappointing outsiders, and the next European to come here, James Byron, claimed to have also been disappointed when he found out that the natives were quite hostile to him. Number 12. Hooker, Oklahoma. Located on Oklahoma's panhandle, this provocative named place got its name from the ox rancher who lived here named John Hooker Threckfeld. The town's motto would imply that it's a location and not a vocation. With only a population of 1,918 people, it's probably a little bit too small to have any kind of escort services going on, so try somewhere else. The residents have made good joke material from the name of the city, and it probably helped with naming the city baseball team that you see in this photo. Number 11. Kissing, Germany. Here's a city that the last city might not like. One of the more romantic strange names on this list, this place has a population of about 11,000 people, and it was first mentioned in a document as Chisingen in 1050 AD. Eventually, this name evolved to Kissing. While it might not be a bad name, it is a little bit strange for a municipality. Number 10. Moose Factory, Canada. Canada has their fair share of crazy names as well. In case you thought moose were born from a mother and a father, you really need to think again. Our next place is Moose Factory, and finally, the mystery about where moose come from has been solved. They're manufactured in Canada. The moose production site in Ontario was founded in 1673, but was captured by the French explorers at one point. Which brings me to my next one. Number 9. St. Louis du Whoah. The residents of St. Louis du Whoah will be happy to tell you that they're the only city in the world that has not one, but 2 exclamation points in their name. What's wrong with those wacky Quebecois? It turns out that a ha-ha is an old French expression for an abrupt end or obstacle. For French explorers, the ha-ha in this case was Lake Temiscouata. In 1998, the municipality celebrated their 125th year anniversary of its existence. Now who's laughing? Number 8. Dildo, Newfoundland. A trip through strange Canadian names certainly isn't complete without visiting this place real quick, or for the ladies, a long time by yourself. The origin of how this unincorporated place on the island of Newfoundland and a town got its name is still kind of unknown, but you'll see the signs pointing in directions on how to get there at least. Some think possibly the shape of the physical features on the island is what started it, or some explorers suggested it as a joke and others took it seriously. Others believe it was possibly named after the explorer Captain Dildo, but nothing has been confirmed on the etymology of this location. All campaigns to try to change the name have failed, surprisingly. Number 7. Nameless, Tennessee. Walking across the welcome sign to Nameless, Tennessee is almost like walking directly into the Twilight Zone. You are in a city called Nameless, but if the name is nameless, doesn't that mean it doesn't have a name? Whoa, hold on, Turbo. Don't think about it too much, or your head might explode. The residents apparently applied for the area to have a post office, which would require it to officially become a city. The application for the name of the city was left blank, and the post office stamped it as being nameless. One of the residents said, "This here is a nameless place if I've ever seen one, so leave it be." Number 6. Hell's Kitchen. Located southwest of Central Park, Hell's Kitchen has had a rough reputation for not being the best neighborhood in Manhattan, and also has a pretty spooky name to display that. Some believe that it got its name from the slum where Irish immigrants lived, which would refer to 5 Points area. New York Times believes that the name was actually given by the New York police in the 1930s, saying that hell has a mild climate, and this is Hell's Kitchen. Number 5. Lower Economy, Canada. If New Yorkers were a little bit more polite, they would have just called Hell's Kitchen Lower Economy. This rural area in Nova Scotia gets a bad reputation, basically because of geography. There was an area of land just called Economy, and it was divided into 2 different parts, upper and lower. There's no evidence that this area is less better off financially or anything, that's just what they call it. It's also the location of the world's highest tides, and they can measure up to 10 feet high. Number 4. Peculiar, Missouri. Welcome to Peculiar, Missouri, where things might be a little bit strange. How'd this city end up with such a peculiar name, you might ask? Back in Civil War times, people of the community sent a letter to the post office for consideration of becoming a city. They had 3 different choices and decided to let the postmaker make the final decision. The postmaker said that all those names were unavailable. The people of the community wrote back and said, "We don't care what you call us, as long as it has a peculiar ring to it." The postmaster replied, "There'd be no other name more peculiar than Peculiar." So finally, that was the decided name, and the community finally got the chance to call themselves a city, even if they had a peculiar name. Number 3. Boring, Oregon. Have you ever felt like you lived in a boring place and nothing could really get much more boring? Well, maybe you should just name your city Boring. But is Boring, Oregon truly all that boring? The town is actually named after William Harrison Boring, who we're sure was a real fun guy. He was a Union soldier and a pioneer whose family eventually settled in Oregon in 1856. This town became economically reliant on the timber industry, and during World War I, the timber found here came into high demand. Either way, you might find this place a little boring if you're not a big fan of trees, wilderness, or hiking. Number 2. Dole, Scotland. The city of Boring decided to twin with Dole in a joint tourism effort to try to bring in tourists to their towns. Dole, Scotland is actually much smaller than Boring, Oregon, and only has about 20 houses. There's no movie theaters or really anything exciting, and it's home to an old church with a spooky-looking cemetery. It was actually just a little settlement for a Christian monastery, and the place kind of lives up to its name, we have to admit. And number 1. Intercourse, Pennsylvania. Located right in the heart of Amish country in Pennsylvania, tourists from all around the world come to this city to see if it lives up to its name. In fact, this #1 strangest name of a place has become a target for thieves trying to snatch their signs. The city was founded in 1754, and it's very possible the word intercourse just doesn't quite mean what it used to back then. They decided to keep the name since it's generated revenue for them. Nonetheless, it seems to be a popular honeymoon location, and people keep on coming back to get a good look at Intercourse.